So you may be wondering, why the hell is it that the United States is bailing out Argentina? We'll talk about that in this video. Guys, as always, welcome to the Modern Survivalist channel. If you want to learn more about realistic survival and preparedness, how to get ready for everything that's happening all over the world, you have my books, 2 Survival Skills, Surviving the Economic Collapse. This is going to be very important so as to get ready for what's happening right now and in years to come. And you have the channel full of information. And I like covering topics like these. Why is it that the United States is giving money to Argentina? Exactly what is it that this involves? How is it affecting American farmers? And why is it that so many of them are mad? Well, first of all, the idea of America First was mostly about not giving money to anyone, not Argentina or anyone else. But that is really not something that this man that you see there with a chainsaw managed to achieve. I mean, it was on the right track for a while, a very short little period of time, but it was, business as usual. If you're wondering why Trump is helping out Argentina with $20 billion US, you may ask yourself, why is it that every single year Israel gets at least $20 billion and more? And it's not exactly as if they're your greatest ally. They constantly betray you every single chance they get. They steal from you, they spy on you, they make you get involved in wars that are not in your best interest. So that maybe is the first thing you need to consider. Now, in terms of Javier Milei, which is this guy that you see here, well, maybe in the picture there's part of the answer of why is Trump bailing out Argentina. This is about ideology and Trumpian fealty, not American interests. Now, as always, there's 2 sides to every coin, and yeah, kind of that. Javier Milei has been a very good friend to Donald Trump from the beginning, even before the election, which is extremely rare. I don't think there's any other president that was going as hard, favoring Trump even before the election. A lot of them were actually campaigning against him. Now, in the case of Milei was always very much friend of Donald Trump. Milei has always been very friend with Israel, which is probably one of the reasons why he's getting money too. It's Israel, and now it's Argentina, with a very Israeli-friendly president, Javier Milei, all right? So there's this contradiction of, it's America first, but it's going to be America first, but first Israel has to get its money. And then, of course, we have to help out Javier Milei because he's our political ally. And there is where you start understanding that you need to have someone besides Israel that speaks in your favor, especially when Israel is in the middle of an undeniable genocide. There's no way of covering anymore. So if your only ally in the world is Israel, it does not look well. No matter what you think, you may think whatever. You're free to think whatever you want. In the planet known as Earth, you are a pariah if you are attached in any way to Israel because of what's of public knowledge happening right now. So you need to have someone else backing you. You need to have some other political alliance, some political friend. And it also happens to be a political ally, a political friend that, as small as the south of the United States is, it's still South America. It's a pretty big part of the world and a very significant part of the world in terms of resources. Argentina is very, kind of like Africa is very resource rich. Well, yeah, but it also happens to be on the same continent that you happen to be in. And it's a significant player in the southern continent that we're making reference to. So you have Brazil on one hand that is not exactly your ally, and you have a bunch of other countries that are very much not on your side. The only one that is in your side, in your continent, is Javier Milei in Argentina. But this comes at a cost. The American farmers are not happy with this one bit. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Why might she be so worried about the soybean market?
Well, like we talked earlier, we went from 12 billion to 0. And then, as a farmer, we get up one morning and you give Argentina, which is our second biggest competition in the world. They're the largest exporters of soybean meal in the world. So I get up one morning, I turn the news on, and you get $20 billion of taxpayer money to my competition. And then the Chinese buy, I think the figure is 30 or 40 containers, ships, which is about 65,000 metric tons per ship, which is like 2.2 million bushels. So they buy 12 or 14 billion dollars worth of soybeans from the Argentinians after the tax holiday. And here's the caveat to it. They give $2.30 over the November board, while I'm getting 50 cents under the November board.
Argentina sells $14 billion worth of soy to China, and the United States is bailing out Argentina, and hurting farmers are not selling a single seed of soybean. So, whatever, 14 billion, he said. So Argentina is selling a shit ton of soy to China, and China is not buying it from Americans. Now, a couple things. It's not that Argentina is selling soy now just because of, well, it's certainly not selling soy to China because of the bailout. Argentina has always sold to China. Argentina is one of the largest soy exporters in the world. He just said, I think it's the largest. So it's nothing new. It is true that it's being sold, but it's nothing that wouldn't have happened otherwise. The only difference, though, here is that on one hand you have that, and on the other hand you have tariff war with China. So China is probably not looking to do the United States any favors at all, right? So on one hand, you have China that if China can screw over the United States, they will. If China can just go around the United States and buy from someone else, they will do that, right? Because of the trade war, because of the tariff war. So they buy from Argentina, which they've always done nonetheless. They're just not buying from the United States. And in terms of why is that the United States is bailing out Argentina, and I understand why he's pissed, rightfully so. Look, we're suffering, we're not selling anything to China, what gives? And you're bailing out our greatest competition? Dude, what are we doing here? Understandably so, but it's two different things. On one hand is the economy, and on the other hand, it's the political scenario where you need to have at least some ally of one kind or another, right? Having no one vouching for you, no one. Argentina votes everything the United States it goes for. The most idiotic thing you could think of, Argentina will just go along with the United States. Javier Milei will just do whatever Trump says, right? Basically, that's it. And that comes at, well, every once in a while, they throw a bone or 20 billion worth in bones, like in this case. That's really all there is to it. So it might have been some character when Scott Bessent, the Treasury, suddenly announced Monday that the United States is prepared to offer open-end financial support to Argentina. Scott Bessent, remember, Scott Bessent is a Soros man. Scott Bessent is famously the man that broke the Bank of England. He's Soros. Scott Bessent is Soros. George Soros. He says, we will do everything that Argentina needs, the United States will do. It's kind of like with Israel right now, right? And that's just politics. It's the politics of all of this. Stands ready to do what is needed within the mandate to support Argentina. All options for stabilization are on the table. We will do whatever it takes. Takes a bit more money, we will give them money, right? And what's even more, it may even not be enough. What's even more concerning is no matter how much money you give this man, no matter how much money you give Argentina, it may not be enough. Because if he loses, the elections that are happening, it's this month. This month he goes to elections, and if he loses, he pretty much loses the House of Representatives, Senate, and so he loses no matter the bailout of Trump. But it was a lot more about the political support and showing support for one of the very few allies the United States has, especially within the same continent, that was right there, Javier Milei. Guys, that's going to be all for now. As always, if you want to learn more about this stuff, you have the channel, you have the books, and the links there below. Take care.